following breaking news right now at noon. Take a look at your screen. This is a live view as dive teams are getting into the water, responding to the reports of a plane going down in Lake Maitland.
This search appears to be centered around the northeast end of the lake here. And if you're just joining us now at noon, we do want to bring you up to speed with everything we've seen in just the past half hour. We want to begin our live team coverage with Chopper 2's Dan McCarthy. Dan, you're over the area. Just give us an idea of what you've been seeing.
Jason, yeah, right now we're holding on the northeast corner of the lake at about 1,000 feet. Multiple crews on scene, including an Orange County Sheriff's helicopter circling at about 500 feet. About an hour ago, a call went out that an aircraft did go down and crash into Lake Maitland. And witnesses on the ground, both on land and in boats, think it crashed in this area. There are reports that someone saw what they think was the pilot getting out of the aircraft but did not make it to shore. The visibility in this lake is really poor, so it's a tough time for the Sheriff's Department and Fire Rescue. They have not been able to locate this aircraft yet. We're just probably a half mile outside of Orlando Executive Airport's airspace, so the pilot would not necessarily have to be talking to the tower, but tower did pick up a radar hit in this area, and the last hit puts the aircraft in this area. So right now, Orange County Sheriff's helicopter on scene, multiple crews on ground. We're overhead. The Sheriff's Department even asked us if we were having any luck with our camera system, if we saw anything. Of course, we'd let them know if we did, but at this point, the aircraft has not been found. The pilot has not been found. If an aircraft actually did crash into the lake, they're taking this incredibly seriously. The multiple crews, multiple dive teams on scene. When we first arrived on scene, people had actually jumped in the water from their own private boats. People that are out here fishing, skiing. So we're pretty confident that an aircraft did crash into the lake, and hopefully we're all looking in the right location. Of course, throughout the day, as we have more information, we'll pass it on. Reporter for the West 2 News team, Chopper Dan McCarthy, back to you.
All right, Chopper Dan, thank you so much. We also have West 2's Bob Hazen on the ground at the scene. We want to check in with him right now. Bob, what are you seeing from your point of view?
Well, let me show you what's going on behind me. We're along a street here in Maitland, Adams Drive, a neighborhood street with a lot of big houses right on the lake. And behind me, you can see the police and firefighter boats that are right there. You saw a guy just jump into the water, possibly from the video here on the ground. And what we've been hearing from police officially as of right now is that they had that report that Chopper Dan was mentioning of a plane going down into the lake. And someone also said that they saw someone get out of that plane and then possibly try to swim to shore. But after that, police and the firefighters, the dive teams out here have not been able to find either the plane or that person, the pilot who got out of the plane. So all of these people out here searching through this lake trying to find anything they could find. And they actually have a couple of different areas roped off, blocked off. We were at a boat ramp on 1792 when we first came out here, and that was blocked off completely with fire trucks and police and getting their boats ready to go into the water. That's blocked off. And then there's a couple of other parts, other ramps around this Lake Maitland that have also been blocked off as police and firefighters try to find this person. But I've talked to several people out here who live in the area along this street where this plane possibly went down. They live basically right on the lake or across the street, and they didn't hear the plane go down themselves, even though some of them were outside when it happened. I did talk to one woman who said her neighbor claimed that she had heard a plane sputtering in the air, and then shortly thereafter all of this began on the lake. So still working to gather some more information, get some details about what might have actually happened with this plane. But as of right now, the confirmed information from Maitland police is that they had a report that that plane went into the lake, someone got out of it, and then after that they haven't been seen, either the person or the plane itself. So that search continues right now. We're going to stay out here, gather the very latest throughout the day. Reporting live in Maitland, Bob Hazen, West 2 News.
All right, Bob, thank you so much. And we do want to pause for just a moment and let you know we are staying on top of this breaking news. We will bring you live updates throughout the hour. And if you pull up the West 2 News mobile app, you will be able to find a live stream of Chopper Dan's feed and the very latest information. Of course, our other big story of the day, Orlando stands united 3 years after tragedy. Central Florida was forever changed back on June 12, 2016.
Those 49 lives lost haven't been forgotten. Neither have the countless others who found their own lives impacted by this tragedy. People are already turning out to pay their respects at Pulse nightclub. And that's where West 2's Matt Lipoli is live for us this afternoon. Matt?
Well, Jason, ahead of tonight's ceremony here, of course, today will be one of remembrance here at Pulse, recognizing the lives of the 49 people who were shot and killed inside the club, a place that was supposed to be a safe one devoid of hate. But we know the terror that came here that night not only took those 49 lives, injured many others, and left countless people in grief, it also changed an entire community forever. And in the face of that hate and amid the sorrow that it caused, on this day we also recognize the outpouring of love this community showed. Of course, before June 12, 2016, we'd never seen a shooting of this magnitude anywhere, certainly not here, but we'd also never known the depths of the grit, the resilience, the care, and the love of the people of Orlando. And on that same day, that was very much on display. From the survivors and the first responders and the doctors and nurses who all helped save lives, to the people who've lent support ever since. When it mattered most, we saw unity all over our community. Pulse was a LGBTQ club, and on the night of that shooting was Latin night, but we know both the effect and the response crossed those lines. Then, when thousands of people stood together in lines across Central Florida for hours waiting to give blood, and thereafter when tens of thousands gathered together at Lake Eola and the Performing Arts Center to show the world the 49 people who didn't get to go home that night, who won't ever get to live another day, won't be forgotten. We were just talking with someone who works with the One Pulse Foundation here, helping to coordinate tonight's ceremony and helping to honor friends.
It's always difficult, especially when I found out. I'm like, Pulse was my safe space, and when your safe space is taken from you, it's a really weird feeling. It's like, now, where do I belong? Where do I go? But working at the One Pulse Foundation has been one of the most rewarding things I've ever done, because I have the rare opportunity to be able to make sure that the legacy of our 49 angels are always remembered.
And that ceremony here at Pulse will be at 7 o'clock tonight. While, of course, we focus on the love and support of the Orlando community, we know this is a very tough day for some people in our community. Of course, for anyone who feels they need help, the Orlando United Assistance Center is open. It's just a call away. That's 407-500-HOPE. Reporting live in Orlando, Matt Lapoli, West 2 News.
Matt, thanks. If you're looking to give back to our community during the remembrance but aren't really sure how, you can always donate blood. Right now, a blood drive's happening at the memorial. It continues until 11 tonight, so you have all day. One Blood says the need for a ready blood supply was critical in 2016 when this tragedy unfolded. Many of the victims were rushed to the hospital and needed immediate life-saving blood transfusions. If you'd like to stop by and help, blood donors receive a limited edition Pulse Remembrance t-shirt. Meanwhile, you may notice today flags are flying at half-staff. That's because Governor Ron DeSantis ordered those to be lowered as part of the mourning process. The governor tweeted the attack targeted in the LGBTQ and Hispanic communities and Florida as a whole. Tonight, Lake Eola will be lighting the fountain in these rainbow colors to honor all those who died 3 years ago. The city tweeted this photo earlier, giving us a look at the display.
And there will be much more on the events and the remembrance taking place over the next few hours here on Wesh 2. Stay with Wesh 2 for complete coverage, including tonight's Pulse Remembrance ceremony. We will be streaming that memorial live for you at 7 o'clock on wesh.com. But right now, we do want to take a look at your first alert forecast, and we already have some rain on the radar. First alert meteorologist Kyle Gravlin is here now. Kyle.
Yeah, a lot of storms kind of breaking out to our west and northwest. You see a pretty well-defined line, scattered thunderstorms, some heavy downpours. The strongest of storms right now exiting eastern Marion County, kind of starting up here around the Ocala National Forest, far northern Lake County, now right near Lake George, northwest Volusia, and soon we'll be moving into Flagler County. The one thing we really need to keep an eye on, really now through the next 3 to 4 hours, will be isolated thunderstorms that could reach severe potential. Damaging wind gusts will be possible with some of these storms as they continue to develop to our west and southwest. We go down to Sumter County, right along I-75 or approaching I-75, now pushing across the county line into central Lake County. More development from there to the west and southwest. And for areas around the Orlando metro, into Osceola County, into Brevard County later on today, it's areas back this way that we'll be watching on radar through the afternoon. Already some spotty storms into Polk County. Those are working to the northeast. It's also incredibly hot outside. 97 in Orlando, 100 is what it feels like for the moment in Melbourne, 99 in Daytona Beach. Some rain cool there to the northwest. Much more coming up in that first alert forecast. Jason and Michelle.
All right, Kyle, thank you. thank you so much. We do want to get you back to that breaking news that we've been following for you over in Orange County.
That's where search is underway right here in Lake Maitland after the reports came in of a plane going down in the water. Let's check in again with WESH 2's chopper Dan McCarthy. Dan, tell us about what's happening there now.
Guys, crews are still on the area, still in the water looking. We're looking ourselves. Pat's been adjusting, fine-tuning our camera system, hoping to do something to help look into the water and help find this aircraft. But the crews are searching. We have not found a debris field. We have not found any type of oil slick that you normally see when an aircraft goes into the water. The Sheriff's helicopter pilot's talking with us, saying the same thing, that their camera system is not picking up anything in this area. But that being said, multiple eyewitnesses on the ground said they saw the aircraft crash into the lake, and the Orlando Executive Tower said they had a radar hit from an aircraft in this area that moments later went away. But this lake, or this side of the lake, is just outside Executive's airspace, so the pilot would not necessarily be talking to Executive Tower. We'll stay on top of this, and of course, as we get more information, we'll pass it on. Hopefully, they'll find this aircraft. For the WESH 2 News team, this is Chopper Dan McCarthy, and for more information, when we get back, we'll pass it on.
All right, thank you so much, Chopper Dan, live above the scene above Lake Maitland right now. Stay with us here on WESH 2 News. We'll be back with more right after this.
Right now, we want to take you live to Lake Maitland, where a plane reportedly went down in the water here. Boaters said they saw the plane go down. They saw apparently a pilot get out, somebody on board, and try to get away from the vessel. But at this point, the plane and the pilot haven't been found. We're going to stay on top of this big breaking story this afternoon and bring you the latest as we're flying above it. We also have a crew there on the ground. We've got team coverage to let you know the very latest.
Also today, an investigation is underway after an Orange County deputy shot and killed a man armed with a bar stool.
Detectives in this case say that 40-year-old Eddie Segura hit his mother when they showed up to a Fort Clinch Avenue home yesterday. Sheriff John Mina told us he watched the body camera footage and saw deputies trying to speak to the man before Segura attacked a deputy with a bar stool. Sheriff Mina says one deputy used a taser, but it didn't work. That's when another deputy opened fire, killing the man.
Very surprising when you come on your street and it's blocked off full of a bunch of cop cars. It's amazing. You don't know what to think.
2 deputies were taken to the hospital with minor injuries to their arms. Sheriff Mina says deputies have been to the house several times in the past for mental issues or other disturbances.
In Orange County, deputies confirm a person has died after being found shot in a crashed car. That discovery happened at the Walmart on South John Young Parkway at Sand Lake Road. Deputies tell us that when they got to the scene, the driver was unconscious. That person was rushed to the hospital where they later died. Investigators are still looking for a suspect. A man accused of strangling and stabbing his wife in front of a child is being held without bond. This happened Monday night on Sand Lake Road. 36-year-old Jason Lindsay is charged with second-degree murder. Court records show his wife accused him of cheating. Deputies say he told them that he lost it and choked his wife with one hand while stabbing her with the other. A father is in jail accused of killing his 5-month-old child. 23-year-old Caleb Scott faces several charges, including first-degree murder and child abuse. Officers were called to the home on North Young Street yesterday morning in Ormond Beach. The 911 caller said an infant there was having difficulty breathing. Security video appears to show Scott outside the home after paramedics took the baby to the hospital. A family friend says the child was covered in bruises. Neighbors tell us they are shocked.
It's just real disturbing. Like I said, we're in shock. We don't understand. You know, it's just hard for us.
A neighbor claims that the child's mom was at work when all of this happened.
Authorities are now looking for a driver who they say hit and killed a man on a motorcycle and left him for dead. The Florida Highway Patrol tells us a car was going along Vineland Road and went to make a U-turn on US 192 in Kissimmee last night, driving right into the path of a Honda motorcycle. Troopers say the victim, a 28-year-old man, slammed on the brakes and went flying off the bike. The rider hit the vehicle, although the bike didn't. Witnesses say the driver was a man who fled the scene, turned down a street, got out of the car for a moment, and then left again. Anyone who has information should call troopers immediately. And There was another deadly crash. This one was in Volusia County on I-95 near Dunlawton Avenue. FHP says a vehicle lost control. It hit a tree last night. We're told the driver died and 2 other people were hurt.
All right, let's turn our attention now back to the forecast. And if we take a look at our radar right now, Kyle, it's already very active, including some lightning strikes.
Plenty of lightning. There's also an isolated severe threat today. You can get some pretty nasty downburst winds, damaging wind gusts. So that's something to watch with any storms that do develop. Very similar to yesterday, we're watching areas to the west and southwest. Early start, early finish. Out toward the coast, later start, later finish. So everything working in this southwest and northeast motion. We'll take it live outside here, downtown Orlando. Still see some sunshine, clouds mixing with that sun, so a little shade over Lake Eola for the moment. 89 at MCO, breezy south wind, 13 miles per hour. If you look closely, our sky cam is shaking a bit there because of that steady breeze. But let's get back to radar. The heaviest rain, the strongest storms at the moment, northwest Volusia County, very close to Lake George. A lot of lightning here. All of this working northeast now into Flagler County. Nothing severe, but certainly some gusty winds, frequent lightning, obviously some very heavy rain. We'll zoom it out a bit. We'll go to the west and southwest. A lot of storms a little bit earlier in Marion County. Now just steadier rains. You see to the west, to the southwest of Marion County, working northeast. That's mostly just showers. Not as much lightning at this point, but just to the south, northern Sumter County, central Lake County, these are thunderstorms, and those continue to quickly work southwest to northeast, moving at about 20 miles per hour. So anything that kind of passes through your town will do so quickly. However, with this line of storms setting up, Sumter County, certainly central northern Lake County, parts of Marion County, a few more rounds of this rain before it wraps up. The line as a whole will slowly work through central Florida. And then the tail end of this line, still off the Gulf Coast, down near Pinellas County and just offshore. Rain and storms that we have to watch that will eventually make it into our viewing area, Orlando Metro, and then push toward the coast by late afternoon and evening. So we have a couple rain-cooled spots. You see the low to mid 70s, 85 now in Leesburg, but it feels like 98 in Kissimmee. It feels like 100 in Melbourne. You see a lot of kind of pink or magenta colors on the screen. So numerous spots with those triple-digit feels like temperatures. A steady south and southwest wind will certainly warm you up before the rain and storms arrive. We go to Futurecast. Notice the pattern here with that west to east motion across central Florida. We get into late afternoon, early evening, more of this kind of centered toward the I-95 corridor, the Atlantic coast. Lingering showers possible behind the line into this evening, and then things will calm down overnight. Some lingering moisture could mean a shower out by the Gulf Coast. Not too concerned with that, but there is this isolated severe threat today. A damaging wind gust cannot be ruled out with any storms that form. So most of the West 2 viewing area in this marginal risk for severe weather. We've kind of been running that the past few days now. Upper 80s and low 90s for high temperatures today. Of course, it will feel considerably warmer with that summer-like humidity in place. A pattern we carry into the end of the week. However, the rain coverage does get a bit more spotty. By Friday, that's a 40% chance of some storms, and we hold it right around there into the weekend. Jason and Michelle.
All right, Kyle, thank you. We do want to get you back to the breaking news that we've been following for just about an hour now here on West 2. Crews are out searching for a possible plane that went down in Lake Maitland. Again, we got reports, police tell us they got reports of a plane that went down in Lake Maitland, and maybe even someone saw the pilot swimming away from that plane. They haven't found the person or the plane just yet. We are staying live above this search scene as long as we can. We are going to continue to follow this right here on West 2. Something pretty exciting is happening here. The longest roller coaster in Florida opens tomorrow.
Yeah, your journey there through Hagrid's Magical Creatures motorbike adventure covers nearly a mile of track. And yesterday we got one look at this ride, a last look before it opens up here at the Wizarding World of Harry Potter and Universal's Islands of Adventure. Riders enter a line leading them to the Forbidden Forest. Then they'll board magical bikes, sending them flying through the forest in search of rare magical creatures.
It is that combination of being able to actually ride on a motorbike and sidecar that you might have seen in the films and actually experience a journey with Hagrid in the Forbidden Forest. And it's not just a roller coaster, it's all of these thrill ride and story moments together.
There are 7 total launches, the most of any roller coaster in the world. This ride also features a free fall 17-foot drop.
It sounds amazing,
I know.
and people are going to go wild for it.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's a big day.
Yeah, and one of those people is sitting right here at the desk.
Yeah, no. I am aware of that.
Yeah. Anna and Elsa are heading out on a new journey.
Disney released a new trailer for Frozen 2, and it strikes a different tone.
Elsa, the past is not what it seems. You must find the truth. Go north.
In the sequel, Elsa sets out to figure out why she can control snow and ice, but her sister can't. Kristoff, Sven, and Olaf will also be back to help out Elsa. Frozen 2 hits theaters November 22nd. And speaking of Disney, the whole gang was in town for the Toy Story 4 premiere last night in Los Angeles, and stars were eager to get in on the fun. Tom Hanks was joined by Woody, along with Tim Allen and Buzz Lightyear. This time around, Andy is firmly in college, and the toys are devoted to a new child named Bonnie and a new toy named Forky. You'll also see some new faces, and one of the characters is voiced by Keanu Reeves, Duke Kaboom. And after the premiere, reactions were rolling in, of course, with both critics and film fans all over the moon for Pixar's 4th installment in this franchise.
It's going to be amazing. And yes, anyone with kids will have to go see it. Your kids will be begging you. Let's turn now to some other news. Westtoon MeTV are off the air right now. This is for some of our viewers. We are working on getting back up and running.
This is only for our viewers who watch us over the air with an antenna in Marion and parts of Lake and Sumter counties. This does not affect anyone watching on cable, satellite, or on the Westtoon mobile app.
This is all part of the plan to rescan we've been telling you about. When we pop back up in a few days, people who watch us over the air with an antenna are going to have to rescan their televisions. We have the simple instructions for you right now on our website, wesh.com.
All right, we have plenty of news coming your way in our next half hour here.
Meteorologist Kyle Gravlin is back with your first alert forecast. We're timing out rain in our day ahead hour by hour, but we want to take you live right now back to Pulse Nightclub. This is that memorial outside the nightclub as our Central Florida community continues to reflect and remember this attack from 3 years ago.
We're also staying on top of that breaking news in the Maitland area, where several crews, including dive teams, are responding to a possible plane that went down in Lake Maitland. We are going to have an update from Chopper Dan McCarthy right after this break.
West 2 News starts now with breaking news.
Breaking now at 12:30, the FAA is confirming a Cessna 182 did in fact crash into Lake Maitland. We've just been told that aircraft left Orlando Executive and was heading to New Smyrna Beach when it went down around 11 this morning. You're looking live at the search area. Dive teams have been frantically going into the water trying to find the plane and anyone who could be on board. This is a situation we've been monitoring for the past hour or so.
And the search appears to be centered around the northeast end of the lake. We want to check back in with West 2's Chopper Dan McCarthy for the very latest. Dan, any new developments from what you're seeing up in the air?
Unfortunately, no, and we unofficially have joined the search. We're circling the lake along with a few other helicopters, including the sheriff's helicopter, hoping that our latest and greatest high-tech GSS camera will pinpoint where this aircraft has gone down. It seems like the search size or the search area has moved a little bit. It was in that area. They've now moved off. We see boats searching other areas of the lake. Some of the civilians that were out have moved away also. But again, we're hearing from multiple sources now that this aircraft has crashed. What is crazy is that we do not see any type of oil slick or fuel slick in the water, though one report that's, again, very unofficial is that the pilot reported he had run out of fuel, and that would explain why we're not seeing a fuel slick in the water here. Also, we're not seeing any debris in the water. But again, multiple sources on the ground, multiple eyewitnesses said they did see the airplane crash. The sheriff's helicopters overhead. You can see one of the ski boats here looking on the lake trying to find this plane that crashed in. We're also circling, and Pat Gribbon, with his 20-plus years experience, is trying to fine-tune our camera, and I'm just looking out the window. The other problem we're running into is the weather that's coming in from the west is sucking in a lot of clouds, so visibility over the water, in the water, is getting less and less, making it more difficult for rescuers to see something. If things change before the weather gets in here, we'll let you know. Reporter of the West 2 News team, Chopper Dan McCarthy, back to you.
All right, Chopper Dan, thank you so much. We appreciate your report live from the air there in Maitland. We are going to pause for just a moment on this story and let you know that we are staying on top of this breaking news. We will bring you live updates throughout the hour here. You can, though, pull up the West 2 mobile app. You will be able to find a live stream of Chopper Dan's feed and the very latest information. It's also on our Facebook page right now.
This afternoon, we do want to turn our attention to the weather because we want to prepare you for showers and potential storms in the afternoon.
Yeah, and a lot of people are seeing it right now. And Kyle, you mentioned that some of them could be severe today.
It's not out of the question that we see some isolated severe thunderstorms. That's right, Michelle. We're already seeing some stronger storms, nothing up to the severe threshold. But Flagler County, northwest Volusia County is where we've seen the most intense storms so far. Frequent lightning, very heavy rain, and usually with a setup like this line of storms, you're going to get gusty winds out ahead of it, 30 to 40 mile per hour wind gusts. But back to the west, areas that have already seen some storms where the atmosphere is a bit more stabilized at this point. Look at Marion County. It is mainly showers until you get close to the county line here with Lake County, northern Sumter County. Some storminess here that will move through far southeast Marion County, northern Lake, again into northwest Volusia. So rounds of these scattered showers and storms for areas west of I-4 right now. Just a little off to the south and southwest, more storms coming together in Sumter County, pushing across the county line into Lake County, so right around Leesburg. A lot of lightning here. You look for those little white dots on the screen. Those are lightning strikes within the last 15 to 30 minutes. And then the back edge of this line will still move through here just much later on today as we get into mid and late afternoon, pushing toward the coast this evening. Another look at radar coming up here in just a bit. Jason and Michelle.
All right, Kyle, thank you. Our other big story of the day, Orlando stands united 3 years after tragedy. Central Florida was forever changed back on June 12, 2016.
Those 49 lives lost haven't been forgotten. Neither have the countless others who found their own lives impacted by this tragedy. People have been turning out all day, paying respects there at Pulse nightclub. And West 2's Matt Lapoli is joining us live from the site this afternoon with the latest. Matt.
Yeah, Jason, we've seen a steady crowd outside Pulse here today. Of course, we expect that on this day. We expect many more people will be gathered here tonight for a ceremony at 7 o'clock outside the club. But for now, we see people are coming here to quietly remember friends and family. They're leaving signs and flowers here, much like we saw in the weeks after the attack. For some, though, the pain is still very raw. Today we spoke to people here and they tell us it's important we don't forget the 49 lives lost here. The club goers who were shot and killed inside what was supposed to be a safe place for them, devoid of hate, and that we figure out how to combat that. That's what someone who lost a friend here tells us, and that's also why workers from the One Pulse Foundation here tell us they're not only working on a permanent memorial here, but also a museum, because they feel there is an educational component in all of this, one they don't want lost on future generations. People here also tell us it's important to recognize, too, the helpers, the survivors and first responders, the doctors and nurses who all helped save lives that day. And of course, the countless people who've shown support here in Orlando and around the world then and now. You'll remember right away, thousands of people lined up to give blood across Central Florida on June 12th, 3 years ago. Now, 3 years later, a blood drive is going on today at the interim memorial here. Just one nod of the continued support of the Orlando community. Now, we mentioned it last half hour, but it bears repeating. While we focus on the love and support of this community, we know that this is a very tough day for many people throughout our community. That's why for anyone who needs help, the Orlando United Assistance Center is open. It takes just one call. That's 407-500-HOPE. Again, the ceremony here at Pulse begins tonight at 7 o'clock. Back to you, Jason and Michelle.
All right, Matt, thank you so much. There will be so much more that we're going to be covering throughout the day. Of course, the events and the remembrance that are taking place over the next few hours. Stay with West 2 News for complete coverage, including tonight's Pulse Remembrance Ceremony. We will be streaming that memorial live at 7 o'clock tonight on WESH.com. But right now, we do want to get you back to the breaking news that we've been following in Maitland. We do have confirmed reports now from the FAA that a Cessna 182 did, in fact, crash into Lake Maitland Maitland. This is the breaking news we've been following for more than an hour now as search crews continue to look for the plane in the lake and the pilot that was said to have been on board that was reportedly having some trouble.
Yeah, and we know at this point, this is what is called a recovery effort. The FAA is saying that because of what's happening out there as they continue to look for this plane that they've reported has gone down the water. We've got our chopper up in the air helping authorities try to locate the plane in the water. We're going to bring you much more ahead here on West 2 News at noon. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
We want to get you back to the breaking news that we've been following. This is Lake Maitland that you're looking at live right now. Chopper 2 is up over this lake because the FAA has confirmed that a plane did go down. And there were reports this morning from boaters out on this lake that they saw the plane crash into the lake. The FAA is now confirming it. We have been told that it left from Orlando Executive and was heading to New Smyrna Beach when it went down around 11 o'clock this morning. And search crews are desperately trying to find any of the wreckage and the pilot that was on board at the time. The NTSB is investigating right now. They're going to determine a cause of what happened here, but we're being told that the pilot was having some trouble. Stay with us. West 2 News on the air and online. We are going to continue to follow this story throughout the day.
Another major story for us this morning is the Pulse Memorial. You're looking live right now where more events and remembrances will happen in the next few hours. Stay with West 2 for complete coverage of this third-year remembrance, including tonight's Pulse ceremony. We'll be streaming it live for you at 7 this evening on our website, west.com.
One of the main duties of any pageant winner is to inspire others.
And one Florida college student has really been doing that, and for most of her life. Now she's about to compete for Miss Florida as the first contestant who has autism.
There's this negative stigma that we're these special creatures that have to be treated carefully, but that's not true.
Cultivating that type of self-esteem is something that took time for Rachel Barcelona.
I was basically promised that I would never graduate any school, really, or have any friends.
That type of feedback didn't sit well with Rachel or her family, especially her mother.
She was like, I'll be dead before that happens. So I wouldn't be anywhere without the help of my mom, who is a nurse practitioner, and she's just wonderful.
So Barcelona started strutting across the big stage when she was just 5. She waved and competed until 4th grade and then took a break.
I had depression and anxiety in middle school, so then I resumed when I was 13, and that's when I really got into it because it helped me make friends and build my confidence.
Barcelona says she's now confidently preparing for Miss Florida later this month. She already has her dresses picked out.
I like this purple interview dress right there with the bows.
And her operatic voice is ready for the talent portion. Above all else, she has a message for the judges.
So usually they bring up my disability, so I would say that it doesn't affect me negatively and that I am very capable of inspiring people and holding a title.
Barcelona says while the autism spectrum is very broad, nothing will hold her back.
I'd say that pageantry is also a spectrum. You have to find the right ones for you and just go from there.
Looking for great things from her when this pageant comes up very soon.
All right, love her. She is surely an inspiration. We want to get you back to that breaking news out in Maitland right now. We are staying with the search for a plane that went down in Lake Maitland. Chopper 2 has officially joined the search for the wreckage here. Stay with us right here at noon for the very latest. A quarter century ago today, Nicole Brown Simpson, the ex-wife of O.J. Simpson, and her friend Ronald Goldman were found murdered in Los Angeles, and this discovery ignited a media frenzy.
O.J. Simpson was charged and tried for those murders, but a jury found him not guilty on all counts. Now, all these years later, the sister of one of the victims is re-examining the case. NBC's Dan Sheneman has more.
Kim Goldman still wants answers. Her brother Ronald was murdered with Nicole Brown Simpson 25 years ago. Nicole's ex-husband, football legend O.J. Simpson, quickly became the focus of the investigation. It was the biggest story in the world, and what was called the trial of the century.
We, the jury,
Simpson was acquitted.
Not guilty of the crime of murder.
Now, Kim Goldman is revisiting the murders and the trial.
Dear Mr. Simpson, hello. It's me, Kim, Ron Goldman's sister.
She has a new podcast, Confronting O.J. Simpson.
I'm wondering if you would sit down and talk to me. I just want to understand whatever can be understood. That's a letter that I wrote to the man I believe brutally killed my brother.
Goldman has been critical of the way the story has been portrayed. Too much about O.J., not enough about the victims.
And I'm forced now to have to endure this week after week.
Simpson, who served time in prison on unrelated charges, is not talking and trying to move on.
He's always had a positive attitude, but now it is the centerpiece of his life. He said, my kids and I, we are now living in a no negative zone.
But while Simpson tries to live his life, the families of the victims can't get over the lives lost. Dan Sheneman, NBC News.
All right, let's switch gears now. This noon, we're already seeing a lot of rain happening right now in a lot of our area.
Yeah, it's mostly west of I-4. That's where we're going to start with the Skycam network. We have a live shot from Tavares, and I think the camera might have actually frozen here just because when you get some nasty weather, the connection with the camera can get a bit spotty. But you're looking at Lake Dora. You can't see much further than that off in the distance. Heavy rain, gusty winds nearby in Leesburg. It's a southwest wind at 10 miles per hour, but looks a little bit worse right here as we kind of look in Tavares. 80 degrees the temperature, feels like 85. So air temperature obviously coming down, rain-cooled air, but the humidity just holds. Dew point in the mid-70s, so it feels like 85. Even with the rain coming down, some very heavy rain moving through portions of Flagler County. But now a line kind of coming together here from near Flagler Beach going southwest into central Volusia County. So that's where we'll follow this line, continue southwest. A lot of lightning here. Portions of interior Volusia County would go into northern Lake County, more of the same, and actually kind of expansion of these storms. Southeast Marion, central Lake County, it continues to the west and southwest from there, kind of curves back through Sumter County, just showers as you get back through the Gulf Coast. But a lot of gusty winds, frequent lightning, very heavy rain. And in some areas, these storms do pass through quickly. They're moving at about 20 miles per hour. The problem is if you're kind of embedded in this line, there's more continuing here to the west and southwest that will push through a little later on in the afternoon. But out ahead of the front, and also notable here, we're seeing isolated storms form just because it's so warm and humid outside. So ahead of the main line of storms, spotty storms, Polk County, far southern Lake County, moving into western Orange County. We'll see more of these storms kind of sprout up here because of the heat and humidity. These are storms that pack very heavy rains, and when you kind of get the very heavy rains, you can also get some really gusty winds. So there is that isolated severe threat with any storms that form here this afternoon. Rain cooled air to the west, feels like 98 in Sanford, 99 Daytona, 100 still in Melbourne. And a south and southwest wind is sure to get you high temperatures in or around the 90s this time of year. We look at Futurecast. Overall, the huge system here will slowly work west to east across the area, but embedded in that line, the storm movement is southwest to northeast. So we continue to see that through the afternoon. Into the evening, we're pushing toward the coast. By this evening, now we're breaking things up. 9 o'clock tonight, a spotty shower can't be ruled out. Some lingering clouds, a lot of humidity. A few more of those tiny spotty showers and sprinkles as we head into tonight. Storm Prediction Center just updated this map, so wanted to show it again. But we are in this marginal risk of an isolated severe thunderstorm as we go through this afternoon and into early this evening with damaging wind gusts, straight line wind gusts being that primary hazard. Right around 90 for high temperatures today, but of course feeling closer to 100. See the 7-day forecast. Rainy, stormy, warm, and humid. Highs in the low 90s here as we head into this weekend. Stay with us. We're going to a break. We'll be right back.
Let's get you back to the breaking news we're following. The FAA is confirming to us a Cessna 182 did in fact crash into Lake Maitland. We've been told the aircraft left Orlando Executive and was heading to New Smyrna Beach when it went down at around 11 this morning. You're looking live at this area just east of the lake, it appears, where there is some crew activity. Our Chopper 2 is flying above this. Dive teams have been in the water. They're frantically searching for that plane and anyone on board. We're going to also follow whatever the activity is here. It looks like a house there.
All right, so let's get straight to West 2's Chopper Dan McCarthy. Chopper Dan, you've obviously moved locations. What's happening now?
Hey guys, yeah, right now we're still on the east side of the lake. The Cessna 182 is a 4-place single-engine high-wing aircraft. So at most it would be 4 people on the aircraft, but more likely it was a training aircraft with just 2 souls on board. Fire rescue is here. You can see the dive team has their command trucks here. They've set up a command center behind this house on the east side of the lake. They're looking, but clearly, because they have not been able to find this aircraft yet, they have toned things down and they're broadening their search. We see a lot of boats moving out into different areas of the lake. We've been searching the lake ourselves, hoping to find something, and so far we have not found the thing. The sheriff's helicopter has gone to refuel. They'll be back in the area, I imagine, within the next half hour. You can see right now, it's a wide, large lake here. Don't know how deep it is, but one of the problems is because of the deep lake grass, visibility from the air is very limited to 2-3 feet into the water. Some of the other lakes in this area, our helicopter camera can zoom down 20-30 feet. Unfortunately, that's not the case at Lake Maitland. So fire crews are looking. They've confirmed that the aircraft has gone down. They just have not been able to find the aircraft, and hopefully they will before the weather changes that we know is moving in, and right now is about 20 miles to our northwest. As we get more information, we'll pass it on. Reporting for the West 2 News team, Chopper Dan McCarthy, back to you.
All right, Chopper Dan, thank you so much. We also want to give you a live look right now at the Pulse Memorial. It is 3 years since that night, June 12th of 2016. We do want to let you know to stay with West 2 News for complete coverage, including tonight's remembrance ceremony. We'll be streaming that memorial live at 7 o'clock tonight on WESH.com.
And this afternoon, we also want to get you up to speed on the forecast. Kyle, showers and storms are popping up.
Yeah, we haven't seen any in the Orlando metro just yet, but we will. Everything's still to the west and southwest right now, swinging across central Florida through the afternoon, wrapping up by the coast this evening. And then we just kind of repeat this pattern into the end of the work week. Highs in the low 90s. Of course, it feels like the upper 90s to near 100 in many towns right now. We'll repeat that again into the end of the work week. Spotty coverage on Friday. We'll mix in some sunshine there.
All right. And stay with our breaking news as we continue following the search for a plane in Lake Maitland. Go to WESH.com or the WESH 2 mobile app. We're also streaming Chopper Dan's footage live now on Facebook.